I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, she canceled last minute. Well, that's never fun when you're getting all dressed, you got your shit all packed, you're expecting a nice long weekend with this girl that you thought things are going really well with, and at the last minute she gives you some kind of BS story as to why she can't go, and she's really sorry. But you know, this friend of hers from work, their uncle's next door neighbor's best friend who used to know their mother stubbed their toe, and they're over there giving them moral support. So, you know, it's just, darn it, if this hadn't come up, they would have really loved to have gone out of town with you. Usually you get some really ridiculous BS excuse when that happens. And so I've got an email here from a viewer who obviously found himself in that situation after dating a gal for about a month. Had sex in the first day when they met, and so obviously he was pretty shocked. But before we get into it, I got a quote that I'd like to share with you that I wrote. It says, "When you allow another to take you for granted, mistreat you, or jerk you around, you are communicating that you feel that you have no value and no self-respect. If you don't have any love for yourself or any self-respect, how do you expect another person to value you when you don't even value yourself? If you want to be loved and valued, you'll have to start acting like a person who loves and values themselves. Healthy self-love leads to removing yourself from people and circumstances that don't honor your value." So obviously what I'm talking about in this quote is something that we've been talking a lot, I'd say probably in the past week or so. It's just an overall theme that men and women both who are struggling in this area of their lives is that they're either dating somebody that's not really that into them, or maybe they were at one point and things have kind of gone sideways. But the bottom line is that the person they're dating is not treating them or reciprocating the kind of interest that they really want to have, and yet they stay in those relationships or they stay in those situations hoping that they're going to get better, but more often than not they don't. So let's take a look at his email. He says, "Hey Coach, my problem is the following. I've been dating this girl since the middle of April. We met that day and had sex, and we hit it off." Isn't it nice when that happens and you meet somebody and it just fucking magically happens when you first meet? It's like from that moment on, it's just effortless and easy. You want them, they want you. You don't hold back, they don't hold back. It's just beautiful when it happens like that. That's why you got to be prepared to do the right thing when those opportunities present themselves, so you don't talk the woman right out of liking you and hooking up with you like this particular guy did. So at least he was doing all right from the get-go, but obviously something happened from that point forward to where things eventually led to it not working out. He says, "We hit it off great, and she told me that she didn't do that with anyone." Yeah, I've heard that quite a bit. I don't want you to think that I do this all the time. I'm not normally like this. It's like, dude, if I had a fucking nickel for every time I've heard that, it's like, come on. So he says, "Everything was going great. Great chemistry, amazing sex until a week ago. We had planned to go to the mountains for a weekend, and she canceled at the last minute." I bet that sucks. You're probably all excited. You did some research. You found this cool place. Maybe it was a bed and breakfast. You think things are going well, and then obviously when she pulls that, it's just like pulls the rug out from under you. It's kind of like getting totally fucking blindsided. He says, "I went ahead and went without her because I had reservations and everything." Well, good for you. That's the best thing you can do. Either take somebody else or just say, fuck it, I'm going anyways because I got a reservation. He says, "After seeing that she was acting weird through text, I just gave her some space. She called me after the weekend had gone by and told me that she was acting that way because she was not ready for a relationship." Well, that tells me obviously that you were acting a little too much like her boyfriend and were a little focused and worried on what your label or your relationship status was with this particular girl. And like I say all the time, a woman falling for a guy to the point where she wants to be exclusive with him is something that happens over time. It's not a light switch. And unless she's bringing it up, it means that you have not successfully gotten her to the point where she feels that emotional connection to where she wants to be exclusive. That's why it's so important. I can't stress this enough, because I know a lot of people that watch my videos or read my articles haven't read my book, because they're like, oh, I got the videos, I got these articles. And the bottom line is there's so many little things in there that you can say that you might not think it's a big deal, but it totally turns the woman off. And wouldn't you much rather know all those little things, the average things that the average guy does that turn women off, so you can, because a big part of being successful with women is just to not make the common mistakes that the average guy makes that ruins attraction and therefore ruins their chances. Because like I was saying in the video I did the other day, out of 100 women, there's a certain percentage that you meet and you ask out on a date, there's a certain percentage that are going to really be into you. There's a certain percentage that aren't. And I mean, the majority of them aren't going to like you, but the point being is some are going to like you. And if you go out on enough dates with enough different women, you realize that the ones that really like you, they make it really easy to be with them. They help carry the conversation. They make an effort. If you're making dinner, they're going to bring wine, or they're going to bring a dessert, they're going to bring something. They're always contributing, trying to make things go well, as opposed to going out with somebody who's really not that into you, but you're okay enough to where she'll go out with you. And in those particular cases, it's like you can't make too many mistakes with those particular women. And a lot of times, just handling the phone properly with making a date and making a definite date, if she can tell that she can push you around on the phone or jerk you around on the phone, then she doesn't need to go out with you on a date, because you're already bending like Gumby, bending yourself into a pretzel, going along with things that she wants. And so that's why it's important that your game be tight. Because I mean, if you feel, say you feel 80% interest for a girl, and then you think she's the most amazing thing since sliced bread, but yet her interest for you is maybe only in the 50s, so it's going to take a matter of weeks before her, and that's if you do everything right, or more things right than wrong, to get her to the point where she's feeling just what you were feeling when you first met her. And so, like I said, if your game is not tight and then you screw it up and you get kicked to the curb, but I mean, those things hurt. It hurts. It's, especially when you look back on it and you realize, oh, damn, now I know what to do. It's because hindsight's always 20/20. So she said that she wanted to keep doing whatever we were doing. In other words, hanging out, having fun, and hooking up without any kind of labels, without any kind of making her feel like she's going to lose her freedom. So that's a good sign that she said that. He says, she told me that she needed time to heal from her relationship of 2.5 years with her ex. Well, that's just an excuse. The bottom line is things were moving too fast for her, and you obviously were pushing along too fast, and she put on the brakes. That's especially why she bailed on your weekend trip, because her interest obviously was going in the opposite direction, and she could tell that you were getting more and more into her as time was going by, and yet she was having more and more doubts about you. He says, I told her that I was cool with that, and then I was going to wait for her, basically. Not a good idea. What I would have just said to her is like, yeah, it's like, I'm not looking for a relationship either. I just want to keep hanging out and having fun and see where it goes. He says, since then we haven't spoken since I decided to give her some time. He says, should I reach out to her? That's another thing I've been talking about a lot lately, is the guy should never be doing more than 20 to 30% of the calling, texting, and pursuing, meaning he should not be initiating any more than that. Whenever a guy does more than 30%, it's too much. It's not enough to give the woman enough space and time away from you to wonder about you, to think about you, to start to miss you, for her feelings to start to grow and develop for you. So I would say she blew you off, and she canceled on you. I mean, she canceled a date. I mean, you spent money, and so think about that. Why would you want to continue to pursue a person who just blew you off like, you were like yesterday's newspaper, basically? So he says, if so, how long should I wait? It's been about a week since we last spoke, and I really want this to work out. Well, doing more of what got you blown off is not going to make her want you more. It's actually going to drive her away. And so in this case, she unilaterally changed the terms of your relationship. So in this particular case, I wouldn't do anything. I'd wait to hear from her and just say, hey, babe, what are you doing? Great to hear from you. I want to see you. When are you free to get together? make a definite date. It's really fucking simple. And if she wants to chit-chat on the phone, say, well, I got to run, but let's save it, and I can give you my undivided attention at dinner tomorrow night, or when we meet up for drinks, or whatever happens to be. And then get off the phone. He says, I'm not sure if she only wants a fuck buddy or something more than that. I really need your help. Well, like I said, because she blew you off like that, and she's slowing things down, and I just tell her, you're way over pursuing this girl. You over pursued her to the point where she's blowing you off. Now, if you keep, it's like what I was saying in my quote earlier. This woman treated you like she didn't value you, and yet you want to continue to call and pursue and try to get her to go out with you as if she's some kind of celebrity and she's special and you're somehow not worthy, but geez, maybe, hopefully, Your Highness, you'll let me take you out for a cup of coffee sometime. It's like, fuck that shit. I mean, think about it, dude. And so the way you're acting is you're completely ignoring the fact that she disrespected you and she blew you off. And now you want to just go and continue to do what you've been doing that's caused her to treat you this way. All you're doing is reinforcing to her that you have no self-respect. And that no matter how much she blows you off or jerks you around, you're just going to sit there and take it. Now, if you're a man who has a healthy self-love and self-respect, when a woman does that, you're going to say, hey, I'm sorry that you're canceling at the last minute. I got reservations and everything booked, but hey, if you don't want to go, then that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and go. Maybe I'll see if I can find somebody else to go. So, I'll be back in a week. Give me a call. Give me a call next week or something. And then that'd be it. I wouldn't reach out to that girl at all. I wouldn't call her at all. And say a week or two later she called me when I got back in town. I would make a date maybe a week out in the future, and I would just have her come over to my place. I wouldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't take her anywhere. I wouldn't spend any money on her. I want to see that she's willing to make the effort to come over, make dinner, and make the effort. But like I said, when you constantly over pursue, it's just little things here and there. It happens, whether it's phone messages or she's not returning messages in the time that you like, and then instead of waiting for her to call you back, then you call her again. I mean, these are all little things that communicate that you don't have any self-respect and you don't value yourself. In other words, you don't feel like you've got something of real value to offer to her. So my advice to you would be to immerse yourself in my book. I did an article a while back called 3 Ways to Seduce Women. So if you Google Corey Wayne, 3 Ways to Seduce Women, and go and look that article up and follow what it teaches so you can get some other options out there. Because if you have some other options with women, that'll also give you a more of an abundance type of mentality, and then you won't be so emotionally fixated on this one particular girl, especially because she's already rejected you once. And this way, if you get a couple other choices, it'll make it much easier for you to do things right going forward. But I mean, it's obvious this girl's interest has dropped to the point where she's literally pushing you away. And so if she's pushing you away, walk away then and never look back. And then, because when a week or two or however long it happens to be, if there's still any kind of chance on your part with this girl, she'll get in touch with you. And if she does, assume that enough time has passed and she's ready to see you. Make a date to hang out, have fun, and hook up. So if you've got a challenge or something that you'd like to get my help with personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking a paid phone coaching session. And I will talk to you soon.